Mission Debrief. We've played every mission of the mainline Halo video games, and now we're playing every mission from the rest of the games in the franchise in chronological order. Each episode will be discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Escape mission from Halo Wars on the next episode. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the Reactor mission from Halo Wars. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Oh, good. I was hoping for another reason to use elephants.
Yay! They can pull stuff. Last mission was Beachhead. Ripamorami forced Professor Anders to activate a Forerunner orb similar to the one found on Harvest. The console activated a fleet of imposing Forerunner ships, which the Covenant planned to use in the war against humanity. With the Arbiter and his guards distracted with hubris, Anders slipped away and teleported to the inner surface of the Shield world. Forge rescued the Professor, sent her back to the Spirit of Fire, and proceeded to overtake 4 Covenant bases to establish a military foothold on the area. Now in Reactor, Anders, Serena, and Captain Cutter agree that the only way to stop the Covenant from using the massive Forerunner fleet against humanity is to use the FTL drive from the Spirit of Fire to blow up the star within Etrin Harborage. After the Pelicans transporting the reactor get shot down, obviously, Forerunner Sergeant Forge uses an elephant to drag the key to their plan uphill through a healthy Covenant resistance towards the Apex base site. The date of the game is February 25th, 2531. We got some, like, the end of this game, there's lots of juicy stuff happening, lots of good cutscenes. They also throw a ton at you that it may not necessarily make sense. Like, there's apparently a star in the middle of this thing. They don't really do a good job of explaining that, and I don't even think in the black boxes they really say kind of how the Shield world or the
no, they're
Dyson
talking
Shield
about like the engines of the Spirit of Fire.
Right.
Yeah, the real hard cut there. I feel like there's something missing in between like Beachhead and this mission, where like it just doesn't explain how they quickly came to their plan. I mean, there is a bit of a cutscene, but it seems really harsh.
Well, Anders does say, I think when she's rescued at some point, either right when she gets on the Pelican in the last mission or soon after, she says, hey, I think I got a plan. And so her plan is to blow shit up. That's, typical Halo stuff. But she must know more about the Dyson Sphere, and the game doesn't really do a good job of explaining to you, the dumb player that we are, like all this science fiction stuff. Maybe if you've heard of Dyson Spheres and kind of know more about Shield worlds and all that stuff, you would figure that out, or have known that, and maybe it would have clicked. But yeah, they're making, like, the writers the writers know stuff that they haven't necessarily transferred over to the player, and they just kind of give you little snippets or tidbits of like, oh, this is a thing, yeah, this is how it's going to happen. So,
and it could have been just Serena explaining what's going on, like, Serena, where are we, what is this? It seems like we're in a something called a Dyson Sphere. There's an artificial sun in the middle, and
yeah,
just a quick explanation like that is all we really needed from her to kind of just understand the setting. Honestly, I think every time we go somewhere different, we should have gotten debriefed by Serena on exactly where we were in the history and stuff like that.
Even like the loading screen or something like that. I know some games
or
do
like
that.
When we're starting the mission, like, you've just landed at this place, you need to do this, this, and this. It seems like this place has this, this, and this.
Yeah, they may have mentioned, like, in little tidbits of dialogue, but that's not quite enough for it to all make sense, especially on a single playthrough. So, but David, do take us through this cutscene, because it is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. So it starts off with 2 Pelicans coming down from the Spirit of Fire with a thing in between them. That's hell. And you're like, what the hell is this? And you have Cutter going, is this really going to work? And Anders is like, yes. They're overloading an FT reactor will cause a chain reaction in the sun. And you're like, what sun? Wait, FTL reactor?
Exactly.
Holy shit. So essentially, the Spirit of Fire's engines, like FTL drive, has been removed, and what the plan is, essentially, as Anders explains, is they're going to overload the FTL drive and collapse the sun, and that will destroy the Dyson Sphere and all the Forerunner ships in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, to asset the classic human, Covenant tactics, asset denial. We can't take the thing. Well, then no one can have the thing because we're going to blow up the thing.
Yeah, this is Halo after all.
Yeah, this is Halo.
It's like the end game for so many games.
Yeah, we've seen this before, where FTL drives are retrofitted as weapons. Famously, Reach and the death of George is an FTL drive that wasn't overloaded as much as it was turned on, and FTL'd a portion of that ship away. Is essentially how they detonated, and that was cool as fuck. But this is essentially
This is what they did in Combat Evolved, though, right?
Yeah.
Same type of thing? They blew that thing up?
They blew up their reactor, yeah, but it wasn't like they didn't turn it on.
Chain react it with the sun exploding, yeah. So this reactor that we see is similar. Cause the sun. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll cause the sun to go supernova, which will blow everything up. And it's kind of a very quick explanation of a little diagram of a thing pulsing. That's supposed to be an explosion. Serena calls out the fact that we're kind of screwed without our drive. There's no getting home.
Yeah.
Cutter is like, this is it. It doesn't matter. We have to make our stand here and hope that does enough for humanity, because humanity's screwed if the Covenant get Forerunner technology like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially, it kind of just cuts and shows you the ships that kind of look weird, and the cutscene kind of ends a little bit there with kind of Forge saying, "Yeah, I'm on the ground. I have the drive." He's like, "Yeah, put the coffee on." Quip Forge being Forge, and then it's just like, let's hope he does it right. And then Serena has a quip of, "It's pretty obvious if he gets it right. It's going to be a supernova in the sun," and then the mission begins with immediately Pelicans crashing and blowing up.
Right.
So that's great.
I feel
Another
like
Halo staple.
I feel like they were a little ahead of their time with Forge, and he does this in multiple spots throughout the game where he's talking to the camera or he's taking selfies.
Yeah, very much so.
That's more like, this is what, 2009, so
he's
it's maybe the very front end of that. I don't know how that's part of our current culture, right? So it's interesting that they put that into the cutscenes. The other thing is, I'm fascinated. They showed it a couple times now, but the design of these Sojourner class dreadnoughts is just crazy. You can't really tell how big they are because it just shows them amidst a whole bunch of them. But the way that they look, they're like these flat ships that look like, I don't know, they almost look like anime swords.
Yeah, they're kind of unusual looking.
Yeah.
I would like to see one in space to get the idea of how this ship moves.
Right.
I find that a lot with Forerunner tech. It can be hard to visualize, even when you're looking at it. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. And they're it's shown amongst the clouds, so they must be hovering up above somewhere, or I guess more in the middle of the shield world. The opening gameplay cut, as David said, we are moving to a ground operation because Pelicans can't be trusted. And so we are going to haul that bad boy up these hills up into the Apex base is what was mentioned. I mentioned it, I think, briefly before, but I think that has some sort of tie-in with where Regret and Arbiter were kind of having their conversations and where they were holding Anders hostage and all that. By the way, I've been seeing Regret for a while. Where'd he go? Where'd Regret go?
He's regretting his decision.
We've kind of lost him. Arbiter is now taken over as the main bad guy. But let's do our mission overview and our toy box and all that sort of fun stuff. So the main objective here, we have two main objectives: build and attach an elephant to the FTL reactor core, then use the elephant to tow the FTL reactor core to the Apex base site. Which means all you really need to do just to beat the mission is just drag that puppy all the way up there. You don't really need to do anything else, which is interesting to think about. And then the optional objective is to kill 20 vampires, which is a bit of a pain in the butt.
I have to air grievances.
Yeah, they don't really spawn enough of them.
It's so surprising because they've been so good at making the optional objectives obtainable in the part-time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had to choose one or the other during my playthrough, which I was really upset about.
Yeah, and they do, in the Prima guide that I've been talking about throughout, they do mention it's, I think they say it's not possible. So, which means these best scores that I'm going to go over in a little bit, maybe the best score isn't even possible. Because you can't get, within time, you can't kill all 20 vampires, which is bizarre. So the part time is 15 to 30 minutes. Scoring goals, we have gold at 30,000, silver at 20 to 29, bronze 10 to 19, and the tin boys are 0 to 9,999. Theoretical best score is 44,000. And again, I don't think that's possible. Yeah, I don't think that's possible because there's just not enough vampires unless somebody's figured it out. The perfect, which means, well, maybe Krista, did the perfect streak get broken?
Oh yeah, the perfect streak's been broken.
Oh, no.
I just couldn't be bothered.
Uh-huh.
I did the objective over the part-time, but I think that was a mistake because my score isn't very high.
But, well, what is your score? What'd you get?
31,720.
Okay. So you still got gold, but you weren't able to get... Yeah, but you got the objective, and I think those objective points do matter for the multiplier that I mentioned before. David, how'd you
do? Just a little bit less, 30,250.
Okay.
I did get the bonus objective, though. I did manage to kill 20 vampires.
You did?
Yeah, I only played this mission the once, and I was kind of happy with my score. I felt I did really well. But obviously, it's a bit on the lower side. I took a few losses in the start, but I think when I got up the first ramp, nothing else died for me the whole game. I kept everything else alive, so I thought I did really well. But I didn't dislike this mission as much as Krista did. I actually quite enjoyed some of it. I like building bases, and then kind of as you move up the slope. I don't know, it's kind of different.
I think my biggest grievance with this is that there wasn't an easy way to get the 20 vampires, and I think that's what really frustrated me about this one.
They seem to spawn off map, because when you get up to the top left hand corner, I noticed that base was always, that's where they spawned in. So I just kind of left dudes up there, and they just fought. I know, I probably took it really slow. I never noticed my length of time on this, but I felt like I played this mission for a while.
Yeah, to get 15 minutes, you gotta and get the 20 vampires. So everything's got to go right somehow, I think. And again, I don't know if it's possible. So my score was 34,925. I win finally. It's been a while. Let's see here. I gotta go all the way back up to the top. Win number 3 for Colin. I'm happy about that. Yeah. So I guess I'll go last. As we walk through, but Krista, take us through the toy box.
Okay, we got some great stuff. So we have our hero units: Forge, Spartan 2s, Jerome, Alice, Douglas. We have our fire base, build us a station, upgrade to fortress, supply pad, reactor, turrets, warthogs, elephants. Ooh. So the barracks/elephants can spawn marines that can be upgraded to ODSTs and the flamethrower marines. Our vehicle depot has scorpions, cobras, and wolverines. Our airpad has hornets and vultures. Ooh. Our field armory have reserves, reinforcements, turret upgrades, adrenaline, Mac Blast, and turrets. And then our Spirit of Fire abilities are heal and repair, Mac Blast, and ODST. So we got a pretty good toolbox going on here. So
I'm interested to hear if David used ODSTs again. I know he loves them.
He does love them.
I did not in this map. I don't. Oh, I did at the end. No. I did at the very end when you get up to the top and there was like a base. I had loads of them built up and I started taking a few losses. I'm like, yeah, these things.
Alright,
so our Covenant units, ground units, are elites, grunts, jackals, hunters. We have shade turrets and towers, spirit drop ships.
Do we have those? I didn't see them. I had them in the notes, but I don't think I saw them.
I can't remember. I didn't see any.
Okay.
Ground vehicles, ghosts, and wraiths, and our air units are vampires. I didn't really see any banshees.
Yeah,
did you?
I don't think so, which is weird because I think isn't that well, maybe vampires is a totally unique vehicle instead of like an upgrade from the banshee. I'm forgetting how that works. We don't play the Covenant enough in the wood at all during the campaign. So yeah, I think it's just vampires. That's all I saw anyway.
And then we have just a touch of flood, just a little spice, like a pinch of flood.
Right.
We have infection forms, combat forms, infected marines, and flood clouds. And then we have our stationary flood launchers, flood nests, flood tentacles, flood eggs, and stalk. So just a little tiny sprinkle.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of thrown in there at the end, just kind of the topping.
Well, yeah, like on your climb, you have to like, oh crap, I got to deal with these guys for a little bit. All right, the difficulty modifications on easy, all enemy units have 50% less health and inflict 50% less damage. That's pretty standard. Heroic the Covenant advance their ages more quickly, meaning that you're gonna face, I guess, just more difficult enemies as you make your climb. And then legendary, all enemy units have 25% more health and inflict 25% more damage, and the Covenant also advance their ages more quickly. So David, take us through your run. How did you make it happen?
This map is pretty simple, so there's not a whole lot of variation that you can kind of do to it.
Mm-hmm.
I did invest in some Wolverines this time, so I had about 4 of them grown. That's the only kind of difference to like my normal run that I really made. I had about kind of pretty low unit count now that I think about it. I actually did a few Warthogs, so I went forward and did a little bit of scouting. They obviously died real fast. But I did use them at the start. Started off then with some Scorpions. I only had about 3, and I kind of kept it there, and then I started building Hornets. Mm-hmm. I did have 1 Vulture by the end, but it's real. It was kind of slowly working its way with the elephant. And I kind of did it real late, but I did upgrade the elephant because I think one of the upgrades is to make it move faster. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. I didn't notice any difference because I wasn't paying attention to like its actual speed.
Yeah.
But I like slowly like moved up with my forces, wiped the area, moved up the truck, moved up the next area of my forces, then moved up the truck. It was kind of just a leapfrog kind of movement.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of flood in this map, but not a whole lot really to worry about. That was it really. I just kind of moved myself slowly in the zigzag space, kind of leapfrogging with those units.
Yeah.
And replacing the odd loss that I get, and at the end I just bombarded the last base with ODSTs.
Which you don't even need to do. All you need to do is get the reactor there.
You could just skip a lot of the bases and stuff, but no, I did that. I missed the black box though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to get an air unit to get it.
Yeah.
Did you build any air units?
I had a few. Yeah, I had a few Hornets and a Vulture at the end, but not a whole lot. Well, yeah, that was it. I kind of flew through it, to be honest.
Yeah, the black box it's just below the first base that you overtake, and you have to take an air unit over there to get
right,
that.
okay.
Yeah, so
I missed that.
I had to look it up in the guide because I was like, where is this thing? I figured it would be maybe up and around towards the very top, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So yeah, it's just kind of stuck off onto the side in a little sneaky spot. I did
very straightforward map.
Yeah, I think so too. I was just gonna say I did something similar. You mentioned that you did Warthogs, and it's like because it gives you a couple Wolverines right away, and you're like, okay, well, I kind of want to go up and see what's going on. You get a couple Wolverines and you get Forge, and so you're like, maybe I can make a little run, and it just it was taking a little while to get my base up and running, and so it's like I'm gonna build a couple Warthogs and just see what happens. I think this was my first run, and they did okay, but yeah, they ultimately got destroyed, and I needed to wait for some Scorpions, but it gives you like enough vehicles to say maybe I can sneak up and see what happens. And Warthogs are cheap, so it's kind of worth giving it a shot. Let's see, any other difficulties as you made your way up? I felt like the bases were pretty bare bones. They were pretty easy to take down.
Yeah, they were. It was weird.
Yeah, Krista, take us through your run.
I pretty much just focused on getting Vultures, and then some Hornets, and then just a couple Wolverines, and then I just kind of kept going from there for a little bit.
What was your build order? That's what I struggled with. Is like, when do I build the elephant? Because on my first, my first run is always like feeling out what's going on, and then after that, it's like, okay, what's the best way to, when do I build my reactors? You get some supplies right away. I was trying to kind of plan out the best way to do that to get closer to the part-time. Do you remember what your build order was?
It's usually a reactor right away, and then supply pads, and then upgrade the base, and then another reactor, and then supply pads, and then an air base.
You did air base before you did vehicle depot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I started with vultures coming up, and I nudged the Spartans up the hill just a tiny bit, because you can take out the first kind of ground units with just the Spartans. And it's just upgrading both of those reactors, getting at least one vulture on the field, and then attacking that base. And then once you unlock that base, you have a lot more resources and stuff to use, so then I was able to make more Wolverines and stuff like that.
What did you build in that second base? Because that's something that I was trying to figure out too, again, as I was optimizing. It's like, I built a bunch of stuff on the main base right away, and then the second base is just like a couple things, and then by the time you get all the way up to the second base is the first base that you overtake, so then the third base that you get is like, okay, what do I even need anymore?
When in doubt, just build supply pads.
Yeah.
When I'm making vultures, I like to have multiple air pads because they all individually queue vultures, because vultures take a little while.
Yeah, good point.
And also you can start putting money into like the armory and stuff like that.
Did you get reinforcements? Did you have to get to the 40 units?
Oh yeah, I eventually did that.
You did, okay.
Just because once you have 3 bases full of supply pads, you have just a bunch of excess cash anyway, so I just, throw it at something. The easiest thing to throw it at is just more upgrades.
Did you worry about the flood at all after you passed them on that first loop?
Not really. Once I got... Because I was kind of bringing my my reactor like halfway up the hill, letting people clear it up, and then halfway up the next hill. I noticed that the flood launcher, if you don't kill it, it will hit you from like anywhere on the map. Yeah. So I had to go back and kill that. But other than that, the flood actually didn't give me that much trouble, but that was because I was focused on air units.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, they weren't that bad at all. It's just it's a weird spot to have them. I guess it's there because it's a reminder from the previous. Let's see, we saw them in the just beachhead, right? The mission before that was we were still in the Spirit of Fire, I think. So it's just a reminder that hey, the flood are still around, so you have to deal with them. But they're not too bad at all. Have you ever tried to just sprint up with a reactor? Just hook it up to the elephant and just go?
You probably could.
Yeah, I think you probably could on easy. I don't know about normal.
Oh, definitely. Normal you probably could too, as long as you have like a good entourage.
Just go for it, because that's really all you need to do to beat this mission. Just hook it up.
You could literally like select the elephant and then select the very final place you need to put the elephant and just watch it go.
Yeah. Were you? Let's see what else we usually do. David, did you put your Spartans in vehicles? Were you doing that too?
Yeah, I did. I put them in mostly air vehicles.
Oh, in your air stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
I put them in my Wolverines right away.
I didn't think to do that, actually. That's a pretty good call.
They tended to do okay. But it's just those vampires. So my run, I did it a couple times, and so I don't know how I got the highest score, really. It's pretty similar in terms of what I did. Maybe I just got the vampires a little bit quicker than you guys did the tail end of it.
Yeah, I think my combat score was 10, but I think my time score was 4.86. That's what it was.
Oh, 4.86. You should have gotten a higher score then. You'd think. Anyway, yeah, I had to wait around a little bit for them at the very top to get them. I think actually my second run was my best run, and then I tried to improve it, and then I just wasn't patient at the very end. I was just like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna finish that mission, because I had like 18 or 19 vampires, and then I destroyed the base. I was like, well, there we go. I can't get any more vampires, so we just ended it. But I'm trying to think what else I did. Yeah, I did scorpions, and mostly scorpions, and then I did a couple vultures as I was upgrading. I don't think I really did any hornets. Yeah, I think it was just vultures, scorpions, the Wolverines, because the Wolverines do take down. If you actually watch the Wolverines as they shoot down the air units, like they take them out almost immediately. So just do one upgrade so that they get their, I think it's so they get their second barrage, and those vampires go down pretty quick. You can just kind of crawl up there. The skull ends up being right where at the second base. So that's the second one that you take over. So the third base that you have, there's a little spot where the skull will pop up there. There's a little cove. So just go and grab that. And you can grab that with a ground unit too. The other thing that I did is I felt, for some reason, I felt the need to build a barracks and use the towers that are scattered throughout. There's a couple towers that are right next to the flood. And so, I don't know, maybe I was just worried that the flood were going to respawn and cause me some problems, but I made sure to put some Marines in those towers just so that they could be nearby that flood and take care of, any additional units that they had. So, I don't know, I felt like that was a good thing that, a commanding officer should do, is garrison his troops there and keep an eye on the flood. So, I don't know, it probably wasn't necessary, but it worked out all right. Yeah, I don't think any other major nuances, because the bases are just kind of blah. I mean, there's as you go up, they're more difficult. So the final base has a shield and a few extra units to take out. But I feel like the second base that you encounter, the second Covenant base, is the most heavily fortified with extra units, and it has like a shade turret there, and there's usually a couple locusts up there. So that one was the I guess the biggest pain to take down. But once you clear out all the units that are right around it... Oh, actually, the turrets on these things are the pain. Did you guys feel that too? Like, you had, at least I did.
Yeah,
those things just pounded my units.
Yeah, I focused. 4 of them. I always focused them when I got right in there.
Did you ever use any of your abilities? What did we have here? Did we have...
Mac Blast, Carpet Bomb, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I ended up using a Mac Blast like right away because one of those turrets was just pounding me. I was just like, oh god, I just got to get rid of this. And then those usually cause the most problem for me and cause the most of my units to blow up. Because the bases have all 4 of those things just crushing you right away. All right. So yeah, pretty basic, pretty straightforward mission. It's fun. I like the. I like the fact that they're taking you through this step of the plan, right? It's fun to mix it up at the very end, and then in the next mission we'll talk about next episode. Like you get the kitchen sink, right? But this one is like one more little here's a kind of a fun little puzzle for you to figure out. It's not too puzzly, but it's at least something different, I guess. The only way to bring the reactor up is with an elephant. I guess it could have been interesting if they would have given you the option to use different vehicles, or maybe hook up, use a couple vultures to grab it and bring it up there. Like that could have been kind of cool. Like maybe give you some options to maximize or to optimize the way that you attack the mission. But give us another reason to use an elephant. That's fine. That's cool.
More vampires. I demand them.
Vampires are cool, but yeah, send more at us so we can actually get our part-time, please, next time. And they didn't. It's funny that they didn't change that even for the definitive edition. They didn't tweak that at all for us.
You think they would have? Just a little bit of a higher spawn rate so we can get it a little easier.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Any trivia, David?
Yep, there's always a little bit of trivia with these, which is kind of interesting. They're not crazy stuff, but anyway. The Bountiful Harvest skull can be found in the northeast corner, Covenant base, like we said. The black box is hidden, also like you said, behind the wall of the first base. The beginning in cutscene after the Pelicans crash and explode, part of the bottom area of the reactor merges into the ground. I kind of saw this. That's just kind of artifacting.
Yeah.
The teleporter site resembles the shape of a marathon symbol. There you go.
Okay.
The elephant cannot be healed by the heal and repair ability once it's attached to the drive, and the regeneration power has no effect. I never realized this.
Yeah.
Interesting. Strangely, when the reactor is standing on a base building pad without an elephant attached, the player builds a building there The reactor will move out of the way itself. This is technically impossible, but it's included for the gameplay reasons. That's a weird piece of trivia, but there you go. Very small.
They hint at the fact that the reactor will slide down the ramp. Did you guys ever test that out?
In previous playthroughs, yeah, it just slides all the way to the bottom.
It does? How funny.
Yeah.
My elephant...
With the elephant attached to it?
No, the elephant... When the elephant dies, then the reactor slides.
Yeah, if it's on a ramp. My elephant... I did have to replace my elephant in one of my playthroughs. I was... Because I'll usually, like, you know, just send everybody up to the base and just like, okay, you guys just do your thing. I'm going to go build some stuff. And then I must have just not been paying attention to the health bar because you can't heal it. And the next time I went up there, I was like, oh, crap. My elephant's gone. I got to build another one.
Oof.
And it also had it had a weird animation, especially right away. I don't think I moved any of my units the first playthrough and just sent an elephant over to the reactor, but it like couldn't figure out how to hook up to the reactor. So it kept like, you know, Austin Powersing, trying to like, you know, back up and hook it up. It didn't figure it out very well. So you do, a lot of times you have to move out your vehicles out of the way so that it can hook it up. Oh, the other funny thing that I noticed in this mission is at the gameplay cut at the very end, the reactor like disappears. Did you guys notice that?
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it like warps away, but meanwhile in the next cutscene it's there.
Where does it go?
Yeah, so a little continuity thing between the people that are doing the gameplay thing. Just, I guess it probably is just trying to make you feel like you accomplished your mission by, you know, taking it away or something. Or maybe it actually does. No, actually, maybe it does warp or teleport to the next spot, because that would make sense that, you know, the reactor teleports and then, you know, Forge and Red Team come up and then teleport to the Apex area. That makes sense now that I talk that through. Is that, you know, Arbiter and Regret have been in this mysterious place. This teleportation spot allows us to get there, to get to that spot closer to where the sun is, I guess. So, a couple things that they don't do a great job of explaining, but, you know, we can get there. We can figure it out.
We can use our big brain.
That's right. What's the black box have to say, Krista?
All right, March 1st, 2531, Chief Engineer Prescott finishes his assessment of the damage to the Spirit of Fire and repairs. And repairs continue to the hull. The FTL core reactor cannot be replaced, and plans to manufacture a spare from base reactor unit is considered impossible. The decision is made to run the ship on a skeleton crew and place the rest in suspended animation. That's kind of hinting at what's going to happen next, I suppose, because this is I don't know why this one's in March and the one for the last mission is back in February, so I don't know why we're skipping around.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Why would that one be here? I mean, I guess
now we spoiled the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god, someone's going to go into suspended animation. Sorry, guys.
What does that mean? I don't know.
Oh, they're going into cryo sleep. Oh no.
Oh. Alright, let's do the community and then we'll get out of here. This will be a quick one.
The community would be quick, Colin, if
I
was ready for the community.
Well, I think you're always ready for the community.
How dare you not be ready?
Maybe.
You disrespect us.
I know. Give me these shortcuts. So I click on this button. Brings me to this page, which is not the one I want.
It's the when in doubt one.
I always click on the wrong one.
You can do it.
Do you know, like, the Facebook has like a group and like a page, and I always get them mixed up.
Oh, you go to the page sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
Who goes to Facebook pages? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody.
Sucks. Anyway, Colin Perkins, the admin of April 7th at 3:31 p.m. Complete the phrase, it is as it relates to Halo. When in doubt, blank. Christopher Mission Debrief, Halo Wars Reactor Mission. So, we have a few comments here. Alan Acorn says, use the spanker. Matthew says, when in doubt, thought I'd try shooting my way out, mix things up a little.
Nice.
It's pretty good. Thomas says, remember, I thought you'd be taller. It's okay, Tom.
No.
Okay. Hey.
David Elwood says, tank beats everything. Randy says, blow up the Autumn and get the fuck out. GTFO. So, yes. Lucas says, frag out. When in doubt by John Hayden Gray says, shoot your way out. Patrick says, ask yourself, what would Sergeant Johnson do? Then we have Storm saying, when in doubt, use the BFG.
Oh no.
Trenton says, when in doubt, I need a weapon. Dave McLaughlin says, when in doubt, half glass a continent. That's yes, that might happen. Sam says, when in doubt, walk softly and carry a big gun. Logan says, hook a grenade. Brad says, when in doubt, get a comfy chair, grab popcorn, and call in the Spartans. Drudo says, when in doubt, blow up the ship's engine, like we do in mini Halos. And finally, Manny says, send in the Marines, a shitload of Marines.
Yeah. I like when in doubt, frag out. That's my favorite. That might be a t-shirt. TM. Alright, Krista, how'd Discord do?
Oh, amazing. So, same question. Super tiny PP Sam says, Samurais. When in doubt, knock that bitch the fuck out.
Oof. It's violent.
It's very violent. Weaponized Cuteness says, when in doubt, run the fuck away screaming. I like that. Hectorius says, when in doubt, blow them the fuck up. They won't remember. Dezuto says, when in doubt, use the withdraw method.
Oh, God.
Dizzy Bumper says, when in doubt, turn it off and then on again. And then if still in doubt, then call it daddy. Ian says, when in doubt, send in the Spartans. Spartan B312 says, when in doubt, play Halo.
Agreed.
Kingbeard says, when in doubt, commit the way of George by using a slipspace drive mounted incorrectly in your ship. And then George status bot says, George is alive. Wait, no, sorry, I misread the cue card. George is dead. So. That's the best thing ever. I love
That's
it.
very good.
Barlett King says, when in doubt, prepare for the Arbiter to end your heretical life. Heretical.
Heretical. You got
Heretical.
it right first time.
Okay.
Yeah. Heretical. I like that.
It sounds weird. Wolf, when in doubt, punch a motherfucker. Good. Blue Calc says, when in doubt, spam nades. Matt says, when in doubt, BXR. Jedi Spartan, when in doubt, betray keys.
Oh boy.
Golan502 says, when in doubt, do a warthog run. Oh no.
Oh man.
And then Wolf says, when in doubt, feed Krista to the Gravemind. No.
What?
You don't. The Gravemind doesn't want me. He'll explode.
You would break. Yeah, you'd break the Gravemind.
I'd break the. Do you want to keep playing Halo? Because if the Gravemind breaks, we're not playing Halo anymore.
Very nice. Is that it?
That's it.
Very nice.
We
wow,
did it.
What a one to end on. Jeez.
Save
Cool.
the best for last.
We have one mission left. One mission.
Woo!
In
What
Halo
happened?
Wars.
But what will become of us?
I don't know. They got some things to wrap up. We'll find out what happens on the next episode. That will do it for our debriefing of the Reactor mission from Halo Wars. The next episode will be Escape.
Escape.
I wonder what's gonna happen.
We're going to escape.
Maybe. Send us your thoughts. podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet. Podcast Evolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolve.
Evolve.